Folks, office is the last place you expect anything bad to happen. But what if your workplace becomes your very worst nightmare? In this episode, we're going to be looking at the offices that change the life of their employees forever. The first horror story is the tale of the elevator, and the second one is the tale of the night shift madness. Stay tuned and get your popcorns.
I used to love working late. There was something peaceful about an empty office. The steady hum of the HVAC, the glow of monitors, the faint scent of burnt coffee lingering in the break room, the cubicles so loud in the day became quiet rows of gray shadows at night. I could think, I could breathe. At least that's what I told myself before everything changed. It started on a Thursday near midnight. I was the last one on the 18th floor of the Vanguard Tower, a 30-story skyscraper downtown. Our company rented 3 floors, and I usually stayed behind to finish reports. I remember packing my bags, the fluorescent lights buzzing above me, when I heard the ding. The elevator. That wasn't unusual in itself, but here's the thing, nobody else was left in the building. I knew because security always did a sweep around 10. I had even waved at Carlos, the guard, when he locked the stairwells. Curious, I walked to the lobby by the elevators. The digital display above the doors showed 29, 28, 27, descending slowly, floor by floor. I frowned. Why would someone be coming down from the top? The company floors ended at 20. Above that were supposedly storage and server rooms rarely used, if ever. The numbers ticked down 23, 22, 21, and then the elevator stopped at 18. My floor. The doors slid open with a hiss. Empty. The silver interior gleamed, the overhead light flickering slightly. I felt a chill, not from the AC, but something heavier, as though the air had shifted. Still, I shook it off and stepped inside. Maybe Carlos was testing it, I thought. I pressed L for the lobby. The doors shut. The hum of descent began, but instead of going down, the elevator jolted, then began rising. I jabbed the button for the lobby again. Nothing. The elevator passed 19, 20, 21. My chest tightened. I tried pressing door open. No response. The panel lights flickered. The floor count climbed 22, 23, 24 until it stopped at 27. The doors parted. Pitch black hallway. That floor wasn't supposed to be occupied. No lights, no signage, just darkness stretching out. I peered out, hesitating. The fluorescent glow from the elevator spilled maybe 6 feet into the hallway before being swallowed by shadow. Something moved. I swear I saw it. A figure darting past, quick, like a shadow slipping between shadows. My instincts screamed to stay inside. I slammed close door. Mercifully, this time the doors obeyed. The elevator descended, smooth and calm, as if nothing had happened. When I reached the lobby, Carlos sat at his desk, sipping coffee. "Hey," I asked, trying to sound casual, "anyone else still here?" He shook his head. "Just you. Why?" I forced a laugh. No reason, but I didn't tell him about the 27th floor. Not yet. The next day, Friday, I tried to push it from my mind. Just a glitch, I told myself. But that night, when I stayed late again, I noticed something strange. A man I didn't recognize sat at Jana's desk. Jana worked in HR, bubbly and always gossiping, but she never stayed late. And this man, he wasn't Jana. Tall, pale, wearing a black suit that looked decades out of fashion, his hair slicked back, skin grayish under the fluorescent lights. I walked over, curious. Hey, can I help you? That's Jana's desk. The man looked up slowly, his eyes dark and sunken like he hadn't slept in years, if not decades. He smiled faintly. She lent it to me. His voice was wrong, soft but grating, like metal dragged on glass. I felt goosebumps crawl up my arms. I don't think so. Who are you? He just kept smiling. You'll see. I backed away. My phone was in my pocket. I nearly called security, but something in his stare, it froze me when I blinked, literally just blinked. He was gone. The chair empty, the desk as it always was. I left early that night. Monday came, and with it, routine, morning chatter, clinking mugs, typing keyboards, but things weren't normal. Jana didn't show up for work. Neither did Mark from finance. By Wednesday, 3 more employees were missing. The company sent emails about personal leave and emergencies, but I knew better. That Thursday night, I heard them. The whispers. I was alone on 18, typing up a report when a faint chorus drifted through the vents. Words I couldn't fully catch, layered voices overlapping in hushed tones, but one word repeated over and over. 27. I grabbed my bag and headed for the elevator. I didn't care if I had to run all the way down 18 flights. I just wanted out from this nightmare. But when the doors opened, someone was inside. Not someone, them, the missing employees. Jana, Mark, and others stood crammed in the elevator, shoulder to shoulder. Their eyes were hollow, their faces slack, like mannequins animated just enough to stand. Join us, they whispered in unison. The doors shut before I could scream. I bolted for the stairs, locked. Every door I tried was sealed. Every single one of them. Carlos wasn't at his post. The lobby was unreachable. The only way out was the elevator. I didn't want to. God, I didn't. But I had no choice. When the doors opened again, the car was empty, waiting. I stepped inside, my hand trembling as I pressed L. The button glowed. The hum began. But instead of descending, the display ticked upward again. 19, 20, 21. No, I muttered, pressing every button at once. No, no, no. It ignored me. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. The numbers slowed suddenly. 27. The doors opened. This time, lights glowed faintly in the hallway. Flickering yellow bulbs stretched down a long corridor lined with old cubicles covered in dust. The air smelled of mold and something coppery, like rust or blood. I stepped out, heart pounding. The cubicles were occupied. Figures sat hunched at desks, typing endlessly on dead keyboards, their faces pale, eyes sunken. They looked like my coworkers, but older, much older, decades older, centuries older, skin sagging, hair thinned. One turned down over me. It was Mark. "Help me," he rasped. "We can't leave. We never leave." I stumbled back. "What is this place?" A voice answered from the end of the hall, the man in the black suit. "This is where the company really keeps its employees," he said, smiling that same faint smile. "Vanguard doesn't fire people, it feeds them. To us." My blood ran cold. Us? From the shadows, more figures emerged. Not human. Long limbed things with faces stretched too wide, eyes like black pits. They slithered between the cubicles, watching me. The man spread his arms. "Welcome to the 27th floor." I ran past the cubicles, down another hallway, through a door that shouldn't have existed. I found myself in a boardroom, long oak table, dusty chairs, and there, sitting at the head, was Carlos, the security guard. Only not Carlos. His skin was peeling, eyes glowing faintly. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said calmly, "but you work late. You are dedicated. The company likes that." I backed against the wall. "I don't want this. I just want to leave." Carlos tilted his head. "You can if you take someone's place." I froze. He gestured towards the cubicles. "They are full, but we always need fresh faces. Trade a colleague, bring them here, and you walk free." I shook my head. "No, never. I wouldn't do that." His smile widened. "Then you'll stay. You'll stay forever." The shadows closed in. I don't remember what happened next, to be honest. Just fragments, cold hands dragging me, whispers in my ears, the hum of an ancient elevator. When I woke, I was at my desk. I thought everything is normal. Daylight screamed in. My computer was on. My coworkers bustled around like nothing had happened. Jana waved at me as she passed. Mark spilled his coffee and cursed. For a moment, I thought it had been a nightmare, until I checked my reflection in the black monitor. My face, it looked older, lines that hadn't been there before, my eyes duller, and on my desk sat a single sticky note. In neat handwriting, it said, "Your turn to recruit. Welcome to floor 27." I've worked plenty of odd jobs in my life, but nothing prepared me for the night shift at Aegis Solutions. I'm 29, broke, and desperate. Aegis wasn't just some call center, it was one of those faceless corporate entities with government contracts and high walls of secrecy. They didn't hire easily, but when I got the email about an overnight administrative role, I jumped at the chance. The pay was triple minimum wage. The contract was brief: show up at 10 p.m., leave at 6 a.m., follow the rules, no exceptions. At the bottom of the contract, there was a handwritten note: "Do not look directly into the mirrors after 3 a.m." I laughed when I saw it. I shouldn't have. The office building was 30 floors tall, though most of it was dark and empty. My department, document control, was buried in the basement. On my first night, my supervisor, Elliot, walked me through. He was tall, nervous looking, with messy hair and eyes that twitched like he hadn't slept in days. "You'll be alone down here most nights," he explained, swiping his badge through endless locked doors. "We just need someone to monitor the file transfers, answer the phones, and follow the protocol. That is it. Life is easy." He handed me a black binder thicker than a Bible. The front read, "Night Shift Protocol, Classified." Inside were pages of rules. Some were normal: log every incoming call, Verify document transfers, lock the storage cabinets, but others weren't. If you hear tapping on the glass, do not acknowledge it. If the phone rings more than once between 2 and 2:15 a.m., do not answer. If you see someone you know walking the halls, call me immediately. I asked Elliot if it was some kind of hazing or a joke. He didn't smile. Just do your job, he said, and whatever you do not break these rules. The first few hours were boring. A trickle of emails, a few documents requests. I settled at my desk, surrounded by beige cubicle walls and humming fluorescent lights. At midnight sharp, the phone rang. A monotone male voice asked for the file C719. I found it, logged it, and sent it through the transfer tube. Easy enough. At 1:30, the lights flickered. Not unusual for a basement, but then came the tapping. Soft, deliberate, against the small window in the break room. 3 taps, pause. 3 taps, and then pause again, as if nothing had happened. My heart skipped. I remembered the rule: do not acknowledge it. The first rule. I kept my eyes on my computer screen, fingers frozen over the keyboard. The tapping grew louder, closer, as though whoever or whatever was pressing their face right against the glass. It stopped at exactly 1:59 a.m. At 2:05, the phone rang again, once, twice, 3 times in a row. I let it ring. Sweat dripped down my temple. It stopped on the 12th ring. For a moment, I thought I heard breathing on the other end of the line. By my third night, the silence was driving me mad. I hadn't seen Elliot since orientation. He only sent check-in texts. Still alive? That night, curiosity got the better of me. At 1:57 a.m., when the tapping began, I crept towards the break room, the biggest mistake of my life. The class was fogged from the inside, though the basement was freezing. I wiped a patch clear with my sleeve. Something stared back. A face. My face. It was me. Same hair, same eyes, but pale, lips blue, teeth slightly too sharp. She smiled. I staggered back, heart pounding. The binder's rule screamed in my head: do not acknowledge it. But I already had. When I turned to leave, the glass cracked. For the rest of that night, I felt watched wherever I went. My reflection in the monitor lagged half a second behind. My reflection in the bathroom mirror grinned while I brushed my teeth, grim-faced. At 3:12 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway. I froze. Elliot's voice called, "Rachel, you in there?" Relieved, I stepped into the corridor, but Elliot wasn't there. Instead, it was me again, the pale version. Same face, but sharper, hungrier. She tilted her head like an animal studying prey. I bolted back into the office, slamming the door. From outside, her voice came, sing-song, "You broke the rules. You broke the rules." The next day, I confronted Elliot. "I saw her," I whispered. "I saw me. What the hell is this place?" He rubbed his temples. "I told you not to break the rules." "Who are they?" I pressed. "What happens if they get you?" He looked up at me, exhausted. "They replace you." I laughed nervously, waiting for him to say he was joking. He didn't. Instead, he led me to a locked filing cabinet in the back. Inside were dozens of ID badges, employees of ages, smiling faces, all labeled with one word: replaced. By my fifth night, the dread was unbearable. Every second ticked like a countdown to 3 a.m., the forbidden mirror hour. I avoided every reflective surface, but when you try not to see your reflection, you notice how many there are. Screensavers, stainless steel appliances, even the polished floors, everywhere reflective surfaces. At 3:01, the phone rang. I nearly jumped out of my chair when I answered. A distorted version of my own voice spoke back. "You don't belong here, Rachel." I slammed the phone down. Moments later, the power went out. The emergency lights flicked on, dim red and eerie, and in every reflective surface she was there, my double, pressing her face against the glass, watching. I called Elliot in a panic. To my shock, he actually answered. "Stay put," he said. His voice was shaking. "I'm coming down." 15 minutes later, he burst through the door, pale and sweating. "They are after you now," he said. "Once you break a rule, they don't stop." "Who are they?" I begged. He hesitated. Then, "They're the original employees, the ones ages replaced. The company found a way to mirror people, to copy them. They make the copies work forever, but sometimes the copies want out, so they try to switch places. And if they succeed," I whispered. Elliot's voice broke. "You vanish. They live your life. No one remembers you were ever different." That night, Elliot gave me a choice. "You can run," he said, "quit, leave town, forget this place, or what?" He handed me the binder, opened to the last page. It was handwritten, unlike the others. Final protocol. Recruit a replacement. My stomach turned. "You mean trick someone else?" His silence was answer enough. He looked years older than he had on my first day. Maybe he'd been avoiding his double for decades, maybe even for half a century. "I can't do that," I whispered. "Then you won't last the week." My sixth night was hell. The tapping never stopped. The phones rang in endless patterns. I heard footsteps, laughter, whispers of my own name. At 2:59, the lights went black. And then she stepped through, not through the door, not through the hall, through the mirror in the break room. She peeled herself out of the glass like liquid, dripping, reforming. My double stood before me, grinning. "It is my turn," she whispered. I ran down the corridor, past locked doors, past flickering exit signs that led nowhere. Every hallway bent back to the office. Every stairwell led me in circles, and she was always, always, always behind me. I don't remember what happened that night. I even don't remember how I escaped that night. I woke up in my apartment, bruised and trembling, with the binder on my nightstand. I called Aegis to quit, but the line disconnected. When I checked online, the company didn't exist. No website, no listings. The building itself wasn't even on Google Maps. But I know it is still there, somewhere. And sometimes, when I catch my reflection in the bathroom mirror, I see her, waiting. I do not know how much more time can I survive, but she is still there, smiling.
Boy, Aegis Corporation is a place that I at least wouldn't ever want to work in, despite being desperate or whatever. Even if they give me $1 million, I wouldn't be working there. Would you? Are you willing to work in Aegis Corporation? Knowing what happened there, let the crib know. Anyways, viewers, if you like horror stories, weekly tales, do hit the subscribe button and sleep with your eyes wide open.